All right, welcome viewers. Today we're talking about adding and subtracting integers. Integers, of course, are all whole numbers and their opposites. So we're not just talking adding and subtracting, but how do we deal with negative numbers? Um, the opposites of whole numbers. How do we add and subtract those? There is a lot of confusion around this topic. It causes tons of trouble for people who think that they're really good at adding and subtracting because it's a wholly new and different process. But I've simplified it down to 3 steps, so if you follow along with these 3 steps, I promise they won't lead you wrong. Just make sure you're filling out a good note sheet and paying attention. Note sheet. First one, step number 1, ensure you have an addition expression. So, most people feel like they like addition more than subtraction. I'm the same way. And the good news is that we can make any subtraction problem into an addition problem by playing my favorite game in the world, Call of Math, add ops. So I've given you 2 examples here showing you what I'm talking about. The first one is already completed. It shows you that 15 minus 20 is the same thing as 15 plus negative 20, and this is really important for us. These are the exact same thing. They have the same value. It's actually negative 5, but you can rewrite it either way, and it still makes sense. The second one is incomplete, and I'm going to show you why. It's because when I'm usually going through a problem, instead of rewriting the thing entirely like we did in that first little example, I'll usually just say 27 minus 64. I can add the opposite, and I'll just fix it just like that. So 27 minus 64 is the same as 27 plus negative 64. So please take those notes, and we'll move on to the second step. Determine the sign of the answer. So once we have an addition problem, we need to find out, all right, is our answer going to be positive or negative when we add these positives and negatives? And I'm going to tell you what it is. It's always the sign of the bigger add end. So if you have a bigger negative number that looks bigger, or a bigger positive number, whichever looks bigger, that's going to be the sign of our answer. And I drew up 2 examples to try and illustrate this. So the first one on the left, you can see that if we have negative 4 algebra tiles and we add 2 or positive 2 algebra tiles to it, well, this hint or this note tells us that, well, 4 is bigger than 2. We have more negatives, so our answer would be negative. This is in green, so you actually don't have to take it down, but just pay attention. And that's in fact true, because we know that if we're going to cancel out 0 pairs, positive 1 and negative 1 cancel each other out. As we cancel out 0 pairs, we run out of positives, and we're left with negatives. We're left with 2 negatives. So the bigger number is what will remain after you cancel out all the 0 pairs. Example is the subtraction problem. We don't like that, so let's play add ops first. Negative 3 minus negative 5 is the same as negative 3 plus positive 5. That's 2 changes. So negative 3 plus positive 5. Well, if we have 3 negatives, again, we're going to think which is bigger. Well, we have 5 positives, so our answer will be positive. We have more positives than negatives. And when we cancel out 0 pairs again, we see that that's true. Yeah, our answer is positive. It's positive 2. 2 are left over. So that's how you find out the sign of your answer. Step number 3 tells us how to get the number for our answer. Step number 3 says add values if signs are the same, subtract values if the signs are different. Again, we're going to use algebra tiles to talk about why that's the case. So over here we have, what if you have negative 2 plus negative 4? Well, if you have negative 2 and negative 4 more, those signs are the same, and so the bigger one is negative, because they're both negative. And we just have negatives plus negatives. We just have a lot of negatives, so we need to add those values together. So we'll have negative 6 in total. You can see that. The second example is when the signs are different. So this note says we're going to subtract if the signs are different. So we have 6 positives plus negative 2 and 2 negatives. Now we know that the sign of our answer is going to be positive because we have more positives than negatives. And we're going to cancel out the 0 pairs. And we'll have 4 positives left. So we can see that if we had just subtracted the values, 6 and 2, then we would have gotten that same answer, positive 4. The final example is really familiar to everyone, 4 plus 1. We just know that if you're adding positives with positives, you're going to get a bigger positive number, so that would be 5. Let's go on to an example before I let you loose on some practice problems. Number 1, if we have negative 716 and we subtract negative 397, what will we get? So first thing I see is we have subtraction. I don't like that. Let's play add ops. So we have negative 716 plus positive 397. We have more negatives than positives, so after we cancel out 0 pairs, we would have negatives left over. And the signs are different. The values are different. We have positive and negative algebra tiles, so they would cancel, and we need to subtract to show that cancellation. We're just going to use the values, not the signs. So 317, or 716, 397, sorry. We'll subtract them. 7 from 16 is 9. 9 from 10 is 1. 3 from 6 is 3. And we said it was negative, so this is a negative 319. Example number 2. 2 years ago, Justin Bieber was getting paid $42,700 per concert. Now he is being offered $78,000 less than that to perform. What is his current rate? Notes I would ask you to include would be something like, I don't even know if I spelled Bieber right. That's okay. So 2 years ago, it was $42,700. Now it's $78,000 less. So we're looking for how much is he getting paid. These are dollars. So he's getting paid less now, so we need to subtract that value. So we're going to have 42,700 minus 70,000 or 78,000. And what's that going to look like? Well, it's a subtraction problem. I don't like that. Let's play add ups to start. So we're going to add a negative 78,000. The sign of my answer is going to be negative because we have more negatives than positives. And then the signs are different, so we need to subtract the value. So 78,000 is the bigger value. We'll subtract 42,700 from it. 7 from 10 is 3. 2 from 7 is 5. And we said our answer is negative, so it's a negative $35,300. That's his rate. And what does that mean? How can you have a negative rate? Well, this is how much he's paid to perform. So if he's paid negative money, this actually means maybe that Justin Bieber has to pay you to let him perform a concert in your area. That's how little demand there is. He's dying to perform, so he has to pay you to be able to perform. Pretty embarrassing, almost as much as talking to yourself on a video. Okay, I'm going to leave you with practice problems on your own. Here they are, and I will see you soon. Good luck.